Here are the 5 reasons why your Roblox cafe will fail and what I've learned about how to make a successful cafe. Before we get started, I am not an expert, but I do have tons of experience because I've been creating cafes since 2014 and I've created 5 failing cafes. It wasn't until my 6th cafe that actually worked out, which is now called Coast Grill. So here's everything I've learned from those failures, and this is information that I've never seen posted online, so you're going to want to watch the entire video, otherwise you may miss out on super valuable information. The first reason why your Roblox cafe will fail seems super obvious, but it probably isn't. This is the branding. This means your logo, graphics, and style of the game. So many groups don't understand the importance of branding and just copy other people's styles, and I promise you 9 out of 10 times that won't work. All the best restaurants and cafes on Roblox have their own branding, and this is the first and most important step that you need to work on. Also, I am not saying you need to spend hundreds of dollars on a logo and graphics, but what I am saying is make sure you have a unique concept that you can build off of. Here is an example of Coast branding, and here is the original sketch of the Coast logo. Then it turned into this, then it turned into this. So as you guys can see, it did not start off as a polished, amazing logo. You need to trust the process and give your designer and yourself time to think of a concept that you'll actually like in the future. Also, don't be afraid to try new game styles and graphic design styles. So many new groups try to use pastel colors because they think that's what the players want, when in reality they just want a unique and different experience to eat at. So make sure you are adventurous and don't fear making a place that looks a bit more realistic or a treehouse cafe or something like that. Same with graphics, I would highly recommend trying multiple styles for your game icon to see which one you like, and here are a few examples of Coast icons that we kept switching until we found one that we really liked and we felt was most fitting to the game. The second reason why your cafe will fail is because the game is confusing. What I mean by that is the concept of your game makes no sense. Too often I see small cafes try to style their game as a restaurant and cafe. They will have a place where the hostess or host stands to greet people and seat them, but then they also have registers that people can eat at. I know it may sound cool to have many options, but this actually leads to confusion for the customers. So make sure your game is one or the other, either has registers and is a cafe, or has a host and hostess place to stand and is a restaurant. If you have both, once again, it's just confusing. And if your place is a restaurant and has a host and hostess place to stand, then make sure it's towards the front of the building so customers aren't cluelessly wandering around the building trying to understand how to sit. The third thing that is most important when trying to create a successful cafe is make sure you focus on what matters. This sounds super simple, but it's something that took me years to learn. Focus on why people play your game. That means make sure your food is good, make sure your cooking is fun, and make sure the reason people come there is for the game and eating. In my previous failing version of Coast, I tried to get people to play it for the wrong reasons. I thought if I added minigames and fishing that more people would come because those are fun features, but that was entirely incorrect. The reason why I failed was because we spent so much time working on stuff that doesn't even fit the concept of the game. So in short, make sure you focus 100% of your energy on the customer experience and cooking experience. Once you have those 2 things down, your game will instantly start gaining traction, and make sure you don't spend a ton of time trying to add Ferris wheels and stuff. Those are kind of a waste of time, and it's not even that fun, so focus your time on what actually matters and not unimportant features that no one will actually use. The fourth most important feature when creating a cafe is make sure you don't under or over advertise. So many times people think the only reason why cafes are successful is because of how much they advertise. I honestly believe this too for the majority of my time on Roblox, and I hate to break it to you, but that isn't true. Although advertisements are super important and helpful to having a group, having a fun and playable game is way more important. A great example of this can be seen during Kohau's launch. During their launch, they didn't even spend money for ads for like the first hour because they got so much traction from their alliances and Discord server that they were building up. But the main reason for their initial success was due to the creative and innovative features they added to their game. They had a new amazing hibachi girls with animations and amazing UI with a stunning build. All of these game elements was the #1 reason why so many people kept joining, and it's proof that you don't need to spend a ton of money to gain players. But that isn't entirely true because later on they did spend a ton of money for ads, so I recommend you do spend money for ads during the launch if you can. Maybe spend like 2K a day for the first few weeks and see how it does, and if the game isn't able to naturally build up player base, then I would just say maybe lower it to 1K, but if your game is still kind of struggling, maybe up that to 5K a day and see how it does. But if your game is not getting players, stop running ads, figure out what the issue is, redo the game, and remake the concept if you need to, and then you can start running ads and keep testing. I can probably make a full video talking about ads if you want me to. Just let me know in the comments, and if we get enough people talking about it, then I might. The fifth most important thing when trying to create a successful cafe is don't do it for the money. In short, don't sell middle ranks, don't sell high ranks, and don't try to make everything in the game for sale. So many people try to do cafes for the money, and I've hardly ever seen that work out. So you need to make sure you do the cafe for the community, otherwise it will fail. One thing is important though, you need to make sure you're making money. I know it sounds kind of confusing, but doing something for the money and making money are 2 entirely different things. I made Coast version 3 to create the best cafe, in my opinion, on Roblox, and I did not do it for the money, but I knew I needed to make money in order to be successful. So I'm selling the Kitchen Leader Pass and Trainee Pass. Along with selling these 2 ranks, we have a ton of other game passes that we sell because they are fun to use, and when other players see that other players have them, they want them too, resulting in them buying them. So make sure your things aren't too expensive, otherwise no one will see other players use them, resulting in you getting no sales. Lastly, the most important thing you need to focus on is the community. This was something I needed to learn the hard way, and for a long time I didn't even understand what focusing on the community meant. I thought it meant just running a few game nights here and there, and making sure people are talking actively in your Discord server. But that is not true. Focusing on your community means you're building a positive relationship with other people, and other people are doing the same with each other. And you're creating a good environment for them. For a while, the owner most likely needs to be active in the Discord server and Roblox server to try to create and basically force people to be friends, but that isn't always the case. Just make sure that everyone in your community is happy and listen to them. If there is something they want to change in the game, the chances are they are right. Listening to your community is one of the best ways to get a bigger community, because once people feel heard, they will tell their friends to join, and then they will tell their friends to join, resulting in growth. Once you have a big enough community, you can check for people's opinions by doing polls and making sure everyone feels heard and that they have a voice and say in what happens in the game's future. Also, one thing I highly suggest is having voice chats that players can talk with each other in. Those are the 5 main reasons why cafes fail and how you can create a successful cafe. For the majority of these, you will most likely need to fail in order to succeed, so never be afraid to try new things and create new versions or add a new method of cooking, because it could result in you being the next biggest cafe. I hope this video was helpful, and I'll try to answer as many comments as I can, so feel free to comment any questions you have below, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Have a nice day, and peace.